Assalamu alaikum. Well, this will have to be part 2 because I had to answer the door and then I didn't know how to deal with the, splicing the 2 parts together. I don't know how to do that. So let's go on to Qisaas based on what I'm capable of doing, which is perhaps not exactly very much because I'm almost halfway through this now. And then inshallah it will be easy for you to understand what Qisaas really means. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن أوفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم ولكم في القصاص حياة يا أولو الألباب لعلكم تتقون كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين فمن بدله بعدما سمعه فإنما إثمه على الذين يبدلونه إن الله سميع عليم. And that's it. That will be the bottom of page 27. And so now I will read you the translation. And then we'll discuss it again. So here is the translation. O you who have believed, prescribed for you is legal retribution for those murdered, the free for the free, the slave for the slave, and the female for the female. There's a footnote here. No one else should be executed in place of the killer. Well, of course not. That's just making sense, right? But whoever overlooks from his brother, meaning the killer, anything, then there should be a suitable follow-up and payment to him as the deceased heir or legal representative with good conduct. This is an alleviation from your Lord and a mercy. But whoever transgresses after that will have a painful punishment. And there is for you in legal retribution, O you people of understanding, that you may become righteous. Prescribed for you when death approaches any one of you, if he leaves wealth, he should make a bequest for the parents and near relatives, according to what is acceptable, and that is a duty upon the righteous. Then whoever alters it, after he has heard it, the sin is only upon those who have altered it. Indeed, Allah is hearing and knowing. Well, this happened to my family, shall I say, without going into gory details. My father's, let's say, will was altered by his second wife's son, who was a very slick CPA. Long story short, it was altered on his deathbed. And no one from my family was there, actually, at that time. Actually, it wasn't actually his deathbed because I and my sister witnessed his death. We witnessed the angel of death take his soul. I saw the death stare when the eyes just look straight ahead, and he sees the angel of death approaching him, and tears came down from his eyes. And my sister and I were just at the foot of the bed, and then it was over. And then, of course, the nurses shuffle you out. And then my sister had to take over the legalities of everything with, death is very complicated in America. You have to just pay. At that time, it was probably $20,000. And that was, 25 years ago. But she took care of everything. And there's another big story that goes with that. When he was put into it's called the hearse. Anyway, we're not going to go into that right now. We're going to go into why the Muslims are feared. One of the main reasons is the monetary aspects. The big one is Muslims don't pay interest to banks. So that's one big reason they hate us. Because America is built on the concept that you get a loan and you buy a house. It's your own house. And you can't do that without a loan unless you're really rich. You could a couple hundred years ago, but not anymore. Because certain people entered America. And when they entered, everything changed. And life was not so simple anymore and clear-cut and affordable. The loan industry, as well as any other type of financial instrument, was made an idol to be worshipped. And it still is, unfortunately. So that's one reason they fear Islam. It has to do with the economy. And then, of course, the substance abuse, alcohol and drugs, is forbidden for us. Well, that's $1 billion industry, so that's another reason why they hate us. Let's talk about the fashion industry. That certainly is another $1 billion industry. To let women really believe that they have to have new clothes all the time. And they have to go out all decked to be seen by so many different eyes. And that's how we were raised. We were literally raised to be that way. It was like a given that we would tabarruj. The word tabarruj means to flaunt. A woman flaunts her beauty and her style and all of that nonsense. So now we can add in the pornography business, because they didn't have that, 100 years ago. They had pictures. But now, this whole sick, what would you say? I don't know what I'd call it. Is it a renaissance of evil? Yes, in a way it is. It's a remaking of all of the bad things into something that has an aspect of profit for people that have no morals, like only girls, We never even had that when I was young. I mean, it was Playboy magazine. That's about as bad as it got when I was young. But this only girls, you can literally make a lot of money just by taking off your clothes. You don't have to leave your home. It's online. So, in the old days, there were strip clubs, and if now it's just really all deteriorating rapidly. So I don't want to get off the topic of judo and Qisaas. The wounds should be having some way of retribution. So it doesn't tell you in the Quran nearly enough for you to understand this, because this is basically two ways. You can look at it from the modern way, which is filled with lawyers and courts, which they were not there in the time of Prophet Muhammad. There was no such thing as a lawyer or a court. People looked at the words and understood them and decided what to do. Now, there would always be an emir, because Prophet Muhammad wanted it that way, that there has to be a leader. You can't have any society just running off, in any direction they want to be. So Prophet Muhammad established the Khilafah, and he put in charge, actually he died, and Abu Bakr took charge, and then there was Omar, and as you know, Osman, and lastly there was Ali. So we had some sort of a structure in place. However, this subject, specifically Qisaas, I knew a person, he had a PhD from Oxford, and he was Jordanian, and he used to write about the tribal laws as opposed to, or juxtaposed with, Sharia Islamiyya in the Quran. So when I knew him, I was in Jordan studying, and I couldn't read Arabic enough to understand anything, but I can now. So I'd like to really delve into this subject, and I'll tell you why. The justice system now has no mercy. So it doesn't matter if you are the one who has been injured. They will apply what they call as their law on you, whether you like it or not. So in Islamic law, the person who has been wronged has the right in the Quran to forgive. They can just forgive everything and just say, I forgive you, or they can forgive you and get what's called the daya. It's called the blood money. And everyone has a price. So now, as I said, it's not written here on this page that I could explain it to you. You have to go through to the hadith. And to make it simplified, there are amounts placed. Now, in the old days, when Prophet Muhammad was teaching the people this Surah Al-Baqarah, then there was some form of administration in place, led by Prophet Muhammad and his Sahaba. And then after the Sahaba, we have the Tabi'in. And that's why it's very important that we follow the Sunnah of the righteous, they call them the righteous caliphs, al-Khulafa al-Rashidun. We look at what they did and we try to apply the same thing. Now, America is filled with prisons and prisoners who were involved in crimes of passion. Maybe they killed their family members while they were high on drugs, most probably. And so the family members were all hurt, devastated. Many times young children left orphans, having to be put in an orphanage. Or it's just a terrible thing what happens when there's a murder. However, in Islam, there are procedures that can be taken. And often, as we say, money talks. There's a price, and I already mentioned this here to you, about the price would be the free man for the free man, the slave for the slave, the woman for the woman. So I find this to be some form of a plan in place, but I have to tell you that there's been a lot of criticism. What do you mean, the free man and the woman, and is it the same amount? Of course not. Of course the man is worth more. So I want to look into this, because Allah says, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. There is life in Qisaas for you, you who know. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. And so that you will be pious. So I stopped at that, because right after that came the verse that says about what happened with my father and how they changed his last will and testimony when he was on his deathbed, but he didn't die that day. So you see, when he actually died, I and my sister were there and witnessed his actual death. But he was on so many strong meds because he had stomach cancer. He was out of it. He couldn't communicate. So because of this, the way they changed his will benefited them far more than my father had intended them to be benefited. And there was reasons behind that. I don't think you care, but I'm just saying I'm reading this for you for the lesson about Qisaas because of what happened this week in Florida. A group of Muslims were really humiliated. They were put in a danger scene where they could have very well freaked out, lost control, and there could have been mayhem. But they held fast, which was good, and I'm proud of them. But what's going to happen to those men that did it? Well, I just opened my phone and found out that they caught 2 of them, and there's 1 still at large. So I thought, all right, where is the Qisaas going to happen here? Where is the legal retribution going to occur? Here and now. I'm going to be following up on this. I'll follow it up with you too, because I'm sure by the time you listen to this, if you're American, you heard about what happened at the University of Tampa parking lot. You've heard about it. Today we are November 21st, 2025. And if something isn't done drastically, and remember, you have the option to forgive them, but this is an unforgivable thing that happened. So I don't think any of these students who were involved, innocently involved, would ever forgive these people for what they did, because it was a horrible thing. Now that I have your attention, I'm just telling you that this is 17 minutes, and I'm going to have to give the first part, the first 4 minutes, and call it part 1, and then this will be part 2, because I'm inept and I don't know how to splice them or attach them. I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is I can read Quran and talk. One day maybe I'll have a studio. Do I have great expectations? No. You know, that was a book we read in high school by Charles Dickens. It was called Great Expectations. And it was a classic, and it was about orphans in an orphanage and how cruelly they were treated. It's a good book for you to read. You probably read it in high school, if you went to high school in America. And I have great expectations for learning everything in this Quran and teaching you and telling you what's in it. Because I believe that if Allah says there is hayat in Qisaas, He means what He says. There is life in retribution. Because when you don't do it His way, and you do it the way that we are doing it now, I'm probably going to be accused, ooh, she's calling for Sharia Islamia, ooh, she's a terrorist, but these people are so limited. They're very limited in their perception and their ability to even cope with the grandeur of the words of Allah. And nobody's helping them, but I do, because they watch all my videos, so I'm trying to help them. I'm going to go forward with this Qisaas thing. And I have a couple of contacts in Egypt, but they're men, but that's okay. They're lawyers, and I'm going to ask them to give me some guidelines about this, because I think this is only the beginning of what's going to be evolving in the upcoming days, weeks, about hatred for Muslims, because it's being stoked. As you know, they're stoking it, stoking the fire, the flames, and it's annoying. And I feel responsible to do some kind of research And you know something that happened to me when I was at the end of my PhD, and my advisor was Israeli, dual citizen, American Israeli. And one time he followed me down the stairs and he said, what did he call me? My name's Diane, but he didn't just go, hey, Diane. I forget how, so long ago, you know. He said, you know, I want to tell you that I don't think you should stay in this dirty business of Middle East politics, because that was my field, Middle East history and politics. By default, it was supposed to be Middle Eastern studies, history, but, you know, if you're dealing with the Arab world, it's all politics, and it's all very sad, nasty, sad, tragic, actually. So he said, I think you should get out of this field because you'd make a great lawyer. What? And I just laughed at him, and I said, no, I'm happy where I am. And what I think he did was, because he was Mossad agent, actually. My life is very interesting. Yes, he's dead now, but he was a gentleman. I can't say anything against him. But, well, yeah, he said a couple of things when I became a Muslim. He didn't like that at all. But, you know, I think they have a lot of ability to trace people's backgrounds. So if you go way, 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 way back in my ancestry, I come from a clan that were called the Brehons, Brehon. And they were legal scholars, and they were running the show, you can say, way back before Jesus and St. Patrick and all that Catholic stuff in Ireland. The country was run by these people called Brehons, Brehon, and they were from some royalty. A long story short, they ruled with a book. And if you study about this period in Ireland, there was a book, and it contained everything. It contained, you know, economics, marital affairs, agricultural affairs, just everything you needed. This is the book they used to rule by. Anyway, they're going to cut me. I have to go. We will continue on with this throughout the upcoming days. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.